So David, a 5-1 win today at Newcastle Town. That must feel good.
Yeah, it does feel good. It's very different than 3 or 4 weeks ago, and at 1-1 3 or 4 weeks ago, I reckon we'd have gone and lost that game. But the difference confidence makes. We went up the other end and won the penalty, and you could see everybody's shoulders went back and chest pumps up, and we got the ball down and played some really good stuff second half. I thought Eden's disallowed goal didn't look a foul to me. I thought that was very soft, so he was unlucky not to get a hat trick. But there was some real quality in that second half, and even first half, I thought apart from the first 10 minutes, I thought we defended exceptionally well. I thought we got bodies around it, and although we weren't slick in possession, I thought we didn't really give too much away after that first 10 minutes. So all in all, good all-round performance.
Are you pleased not just with the win, but you've said over the course of the season, performances against the top 6-7 teams have been good, but down at the bottom we haven't really turned it on or necessarily played particularly well, and today we've got a scoreline that we deserve today.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence that we worked so hard as well. You know, first half things weren't going our way, but we didn't stop working. Second half we 5-1 up with 91st minute, and Mason Fawns is winning tackles on the halfway line. It's not a coincidence, is it? So it was good. I think the lads still have belief. If we look after our games, there's still a chance, and it's good to see them when they're like that. There's a really good atmosphere in the dressing room. There's a bit of confidence around how they're playing, and you can see, 80 minutes in, we've got our full-backs overlapping. We've got midfielders wanting to get involved. It's a pleasure to be part of that.
How big is that goal for Mason Fawns? Obviously, his performances have been good, even when he's not been scoring, but back on the score sheet after a while.
For him. He's not really done much wrong. As you say, things haven't quite fallen for him. He's had a couple of decent chances, not quite gone in. So hopefully that just kind of lifts that monkey off his back, and he can play with a bit more freedom and relax a little bit more. He's like these last 3 games, because he'll be huge for us in those games.
And 2 very different goals for Eden Bailey today. First one well taken, and second one just unbelievable strength, pace, and a good finish.
First one was just somebody who doesn't give up on it, just chasing down, being difficult to play against, putting a bit of pressure on the centre half and capitalising on the errors. Finish was good. Second one was excellent, and once he got in front of the defender, his composure then to just slow a little bit, make sure he got his head up, and then the finish through the keeper's legs was as good as you'll see. And as I say, the one that was disallowed was another good strength, pace, strength, composure. Very good centre forwards performance today.
And a good performance from your defenders again today. Will and Josh seem to have really got into it. Obviously, Will came off halfway through the second half. Any update on that as well?
It's a bit of an hamstring injury. He doesn't think it's too bad. We think we've taken it off before he went. Grundy came on, who's just recovered from an hamstring injury, and I thought he did just as well. I thought they were difficult to play against. I thought the 9 was a handful. The 10 dropped into the pockets and made it quite difficult to know whether to drop in. But I think they got round and covered each other well. And I thought Grundy, when he stepped in, did well. And I thought Tom Watson, when he was called on, was superb. He made a great double save early on in the game. And then second half, he was catching things from throw-ins and corners, swept really well. So I think if you look at that, the 3 centre-halves we played and Tom, I think they're all superb today.
And Jack Bannister back on the score sheet. He's got himself a decent number of goals this season. How important has he been to you this season?
He doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's probably slightly unfair, because he has been one of our best attacking players probably for the last year. At the back end of last season, he was definitely our best attacking player, and he's a threat. He carries the ball well, his delivery is good, he's persistent, he's experienced, and he took his goal well today when it wasn't an easy chance. There were a lot of bodies in between him and the goal. So but some of the link-up play with Nicky as well was a pleasure, as they underlapping, overlapping, getting around each other. I think Jack's been superb all year for us.
And Kane Hitman came off at half-time today. Any
hamstring
news on that?
So it's a bit. We think it might be a bit of a recurrence. He felt something. He's obviously had the hamstring strain that kept him out for a couple of games. But Bailey came in, and Bailey was superb. It's been nice actually. We've had bodies back, and if you look at the bench today, Jack Grundy came on, did really well. Bailey came on, did well. And I thought Umar, the last 15, made some good runs. A bit unlucky, a couple of balls across the box didn't quite fall to him. But it's good to have that depth, and we've got Ben available. We've got Sean, who wasn't involved today, so we've got plenty of bodies which we'll need in the next couple of weeks.
Bailey Marsden as well. Doesn't score many goals, but a very good finish.
That was a bit special, and a bit of cleverness between him and Nicky, just set up. I mean, probably the only time Nicky had a free kick and didn't shoot, including the ones in our half. But just a bit of cleverness and a very, very good finish. And Bailey does that all the time in training. So it's probably the one part of his game we've talked about not being good enough. Really, he doesn't get enough goals. He should do with the talent he's got and his ability to carry a ball. So maybe that's just kind of kicks him on a little bit.
And we move on Monday, 1 day break, and then we go again on Monday against Glossop at home. A massive derby game against another team who's struggling down there. How tough is that game going to be at home?
There are no easy games in this league. We've said this a lot. Glossop are really scrapping for their lives. They had a good win today. They'll come with a bit of optimism, I would have thought, hoping they can get something from it. They're always a tough side to break down. They've brought some experience in Nathan Valentine, and Keaton's back fit. I know he was among the goals last week. I don't think he scored today, but Keaton's always a threat. So we're going to have to be at it again, and we just need to assess tomorrow where everybody's at. It's difficult with a quick turnaround. We don't have a huge squad, so we'll just have to assess where people are at. But if we can play with the confidence we had today, the work rate, the graph that we put in today, and then start to ping it around like we did second half, we're as good as anybody in the league when we're doing that. We've shown that against Leek and Workington and Runcorn Linnets. We just need to do that consistently, and it starts with that hard work. So I think if we do that Monday, we've got a very good chance of keeping things alive for another week.
A chance to get a bumper crowd as well on a bank holiday Monday. Thoughts on the fans today and hoping for them to come on Monday?
I mean, it's a funny ground because you're so far from the pitch, but the fans were loud. You heard them a few times in the first half, particularly the second half. They were really enjoying themselves. Glossop will bring a few. Glossop had a really good attendance at their place on Boxing Day. I think there'll be a big crowd, good atmosphere. Good game of football, two sides who both need to win for different reasons, so it should be a good bank holiday. Hopefully we'll get this weather as well.
Thanks, David. Well
Cheers,
done
Nathan.
today.